What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are here for a bit of a commentary video because today I want to discuss if Forza has been saved. Now, before you start commenting, Forza was never dead in the first place. Please let me explain what I mean by saved. Like, you don't even know what I mean when I say saved. Like, saved by what? That's what I'm going to explain first before we actually go into this video. So, Forza has been plagued with anti-sumer practices ever since, like, Forza 3. Ever since the dawn of, you know, a online store, you know, like the Xbox Live store. Forza's been plagued with car DLC. It's been plagued with microtransactions. Going as far as in Forza 5 as the launch title of Forza 5, that was one of the main things mainstream press picked up on about that game, was the fact that there was just like microtransactions, and microtransactions. Got to the point where most of the car list was DLC and it felt like a free-to-play game, not necessarily, you know, a AAA title which you pay upwards of £100 for in some cases. But recently it seems like Microsoft or Turn 10 or, you know, someone behind the scenes has had a change of heart because things are changing with Forza, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. We've seen the numerous changes with Forza 7. Obviously that was my last video and it was a very good video. If you haven't already checked it out, link is down in the description. In that video we see, you know, the new Forza Drift update, which is something which is almost like entirely community based. This is something which, you know, has been a pretty big thing for the community, something they've wanted for ages. They've added it, and it seems like they added it purely based off the fact they know people wanted it, which is something which they, again, this is very weird for Microsoft and for the Forza franchise. You couldn't ask them about like Fujimi Kaido or anything drift related without them kind of getting a it's not happening. But like, they've added this drift update and it just seems like, you know, their whole tone to how they're addressing, you know, the fans and how they're addressing DLC and how their practices are changing. It's very weird. And it's something which I've also noticed with Horizon 4. So with Horizon 4, again, like the consumer practices, you know, just get better and better. So let's go ahead and talk about Forzathon. Hourly, weekly, monthly content. Don't know why more people aren't doing this. It's actually one of the best things I think Forza has implemented in Horizon 4. The fact there's always content to do, you know, you got Forzathon blimps across the map for interactive content which changes like every hour, I think it is. That's crazy. To me, at least, it seems like this is the first time this has ever happened in the series. And as well as that, they've also said that they are, you know, going to be supporting the game post-launch for the first time ever for a Forza game. So one thing to keep in mind is that, you know, for past Forza games, they didn't actually support the game after launch, or at least they never said they would. This time, they're actually, you know, adamant on live service, and they're adamant on actually supporting this game. And that's something that they've mentioned before launch, is that, you know, they're actually going to go out of their way to do that. Now, yes, previously they've added cars and they've added in expansions, but they've never really supported it properly after launch. It's kind of been, you know, you get what you get in the main game. You're probably going to get 2 more expansions, and those 2 expansions, that's it really. This time round, you know, I'm sure we can expect new game modes. I'm sure we can expect, obviously, the new cars and the new expansions like we've got in previous games, but we can also expect more than that, you know, through live service. So, you know, more character customization, more emotes, if you want to dab on the haters, or floss, or whatever the fuck people do in 2018 nowadays. Again, all weird stuff which Forza just hasn't done. And it all gets me thinking, why now? Obviously, companies like EA haven't done a good job with microtransactions. I don't think it takes anyone, you know, any genius to realise that Battlefront changed the way, you know, microtransactions are viewed in mainstream. And I think we are seeing that change now in games. You know, microtransactions are very slowly being phased out. Now, I'm not sure Forza are going to completely phase them out, because they have said previously on launch there isn't going to be any. Then they've had a reputation of adding them after launch. So I don't know whether maybe, you know, they're going to be adding them after launch. That's completely up in the air. We don't know that. But definitely the way they're going around live service seems something more reminiscent of a Ubisoft model. Games like Far Cry, The Crew 2, Rainbow Six Siege all follow the same model of free DLC and, you know, really putting the player first. Microsoft, and it's very weird because Microsoft are very not really like this. The only time I can ever think they've done something like this was back when Bungie were making with Halo, and they used to do some free stuff for Halo, especially Halo 2, that got a lot of free DLC. But in terms of like like on a broader scale, you know, especially recently, I don't really know many Microsoft games that are kind of doing this. That's probably down to the fact that Microsoft don't actually have many games other than Halo, Gears of War, and a few other titles. But like, it just seems that they've had a big, you know, change of heart on how they are addressing, you know, consumers. And I just want to say, from my perspective at least, it's really, really cool to see that companies are finally actually, you know, caring, or at least, you know, trying to come across as not as dickish. Companies, especially a few years ago with all the online pass bullshit and microtransactions coming on the rise, you know, have become extremely anti-consumer friendly. And I think now recently that's very changed. That's changed dramatically. I think that companies are now starting to see that it's just not the way to make your games, and it's really nice from a consumer's perspective that that is happening. And I hope that Forza really does, you know, do this right. I know cars are still paid for in car DLC, and obviously that comes through the season pass, but if that supports a lot of free content in the future for everyone, then that's not a problem for me. The only thing I can really say from here without rambling on too much is, let's see what Horizon has in store. If it's anything like Motorsport 7 and they continue to support with that game, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. You know, it's almost reaching now a year that Forza Motorsport 7 has come out, and they're still supporting that game at full force. It's not just car packs, it's drift updates. You know, they're looking at adding drag stuff, even stuff like Forza Monthly, where they stream and talk about upcoming patches similar to what the Crew 2 does. You know, and obviously we had the seasons streams as well. Ralph Fulton, I believe, you know, likes it. He likes the idea of doing those streams. I tweeted him once, I said, like, would it be possible to do this? And he favorited the tweet, so he did at least acknowledge it. And it's one of those things, Ralph Fulton being the creative director for Playground Games, for those that don't know. So it's one of those things that it just seems that they're getting more open, and that's, for me, is something which I think the Forza series is the only thing I think Forza's been missing, is that, you know, sense of community behind the game. You know, something Microsoft titles do oddly well. Halo and Gears also do it very well, having that sense of community. And I think that's something which has been missing from the Forza franchise from the higher-ups for a very long time. And I think now we're finally starting to see strands of that come back. Anyway, with that being said, that's it from me. What do you guys think? Am I speaking out my ass? Do you still think, obviously they're a company in the end of the day, so they are going to want to make money, but do you agree with what I'm saying? You know, can you see the changes that are happening behind the scenes, and what do you think maybe the possible origins of it are? I don't really know, but it'd be interesting to see some of your guys' thoughts, because trust me, I still do read the comments. So with that being said, that's been it from me today. If you guys enjoyed, if you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have an awesome, stay safe, and peace.